I read a story once about an old pastor of a country church. He was not paid very much by the church, and he and his wife lived in an old country shack with poor insulation and a fireplace for heat. One very cold winter night, one of his parishioners was concerned about the elderly couple, and he went to check on them. And sitting in the house with them, he noticed that the place was quite drafty, and they lived in a very meager lifestyle. And seeing this, he asked the pastor a question. "Pastor, you're a brilliant and intelligent man. You could have done anything that you wanted in life. You could have made a lot of money. Why did you choose to pastor a small church and live like this?" The pastor replied, "Imagine that a person lived in this country but worked overseas and earned a lot of money there. But he spent everything that he earned in that country, knowing that when he retired, he would have to come back to this country penniless. What would you think about that man?" The parishioner replied, "I would think that that man was very foolish." And the pastor stated, "I agree. You see, this earth is not my home. At the end of my earthly life, I will spend eternity in heaven, my real home. I realized that it would be foolish to pour out all of my energy into that which would stay here when I retire to heaven. You see, I chose to store up treasure in heaven." I can't think of a better way to explain the words that Jesus presented in the Sermon on the Mount in this passage than to tell that story. The passage is Matthew chapter 6, verses 19 through 21, where it's written, "Do not lay up for yourselves treasures on earth where moth and rust destroy and where thieves break in and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust destroys and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also." The children of the kingdom must keep an eternal perspective on their earthly works, their earthly labors. Jesus stated that this was a matter of the heart. There's a direct connection between the heart and our treasure and where our treasure is. While it is not wrong to earn a living, to support your family, and enjoy life, many will miss the mark of storing up eternal treasure because their focus is wrong. The reason is that of a misplaced priority. The scriptures teach us that the children of the kingdom are to live in such a way as to glorify God. Jesus said earlier in the Sermon on the Mount, "In the same way, let your light shine before others so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father who is in heaven." And then Paul wrote to the Corinthians, "So whether you eat or drink or whatever you do, do all to the glory of God." From a practical standpoint, we store up treasure whenever our works glorify God. And that is our goal in life. When we live and serve with a heavenly purpose, using what God has given us, we store up treasure in heaven. And this will include everything. Include our witness, includes our walking of a righteous life, displaying the fruit of the Spirit in our lives. And will include our conversations with others where we share with them the message of hope. Remember this purpose that we have, that this life is temporal, but we as believers will spend eternity in heaven. Wouldn't it be so foolish to waste our entire life doing nothing but pouring things into this life that will stay here and not enter in to those things which will be stored up in heaven?